Hi guys, this is Schwaku7. Whenever I see a good exercise equipment bargain, I'll do a quick YouTube video on it because exercise equipment has become ridiculously expensive. But you can still buy affordable exercise equipment if you know where to look. And one place is Temu, T-E-M-U, a Chinese e-commerce company that sells exercise equipment and other items at rock-bottom prices because it avoids the middlemen. Sells directly to American customers. It also operates local warehouses. And in addition, it skirts the tariff laws by taking advantage of the de minimis exemption, which exempts purchases of less than $800 from import taxes if it's shipped directly to American customers. This video is on something different, but I decided to make it anyway because it's something that most people probably aren't aware of, is that exercise doesn't have to involve barbells or dumbbells. You can use other tools like kettlebells and slam balls. You can even use a solid concrete construction block which weighs 34 pounds. So here we go. And that was hard to do. An exercise that I like to do is a 30-pound ammo can lift, which the United States Marine Corps requires every United States Marine to do on his combat fitness test. And what you do is you lift a 30-pound ammo can as many times as you can for 2 minutes. And if you've never tried it, I encourage you to try it because it's very difficult. And this is the ammo can I bought off of eBay for around $15. It's filled with sand. And I use it just like I lift the 34-pound solid concrete construction block for as many times as I can in 2 minutes, which is what the United States Marine Corps requires each Marine to do on the United States Marine Corps Combat Fitness Test. And the best thing about doing an ammo can lift is that it uses the repeated effort strength training method of lifting non-maximal weights or exerting non-maximal force to failure, which is the best way to develop muscular hypertrophy or size, as well as muscular endurance. But the reason why I encourage you to do it, if you're trying to lose weight, or if you're obese, is that it's the best way to develop mitochondria, which is the power plant to the cell and capillary density. And capillaries are the tiny blood vessels that bring blood sugar, oxygen, nutrients to your cells and carry away the waste products of the metabolic processes. And a lot of people who have diabetes have problems with insulin receptors because the insulin receptors become insulin resistance. And by insulin resistant, I mean it becomes impaired or unable to take in insulin, which keeps the mitochondria converting the blood sugar into energy. So any exercise tool that allows you to lift non-maximal weight to failure or to exert non-maximal force to failure is a good thing to have. When it comes to exercise, what's really important is that the exercise is effective. And what I mean by effective, that it induces positive adaptation, because that's what strength training is all about, is that your body will adapt one way or the other, whether you choose to exercise or whether you choose not to exercise. If you choose to exercise, your body will create more muscle, more mitochondria, more capillary density, more bone density. And if you don't exercise, the body will take it away because you don't need it. So it's very, very important that exercise be effective. The second principle is that exercise should be safe. So if you're out there lifting as much weight as you possibly can using the maximal effort method, and that's what the maximal effort method is lifting as much weight as you possibly can, you have a high risk of injury. And if you rip out your pectoral muscles or tear a bicep because you're lifting as much weight as you possibly can, then that violates the second principle. You shouldn't have to have back surgery because you're trying to squat or deadlift as much as you possibly can. The third principle is exercise should be affordable. And exercise equipment is getting ridiculously expensive. For instance, Rogue Fitness has a power rack for sale for $9,995. And this is it. The RM43 6RD flat foot rack, Ryan Davis signature design in matte black, which is made in the USA for $9,995. It looks like a nice rack with weight plate storage attachments, but $9,995? That's just flat out ridiculous. And it isn't just Rogue Fitness. Like Rep Fitness has its Aries 2.0 for sale for $2,799.99. And the Elite FTS has a combination lat pull down rack combo on sale for $3,294.60. I mean, having a lat machine is a good idea, but $3,294.60 for what is essentially a lat machine and a power rack with some weight storage posts and a pull-up bar? To me, that's just ridiculous. To me, it makes more sense to buy a power cage off of Temu for $254.80, which has a pull-up bar, storage tubes, and a landmine tube, which has a weight capacity of 1,200 pounds, 14 height adjustable pillars, and a cable system, which is probably more than enough for the vast majority of home gym owners who aren't bench pressing more than 300 pounds. And even if they didn't want to use the cable system, they can buy a independent standing lamp machine with both an upper and lower cable pulley off of Temu for $127. But here's something that I just purchased as exercise equipment. It's a handcrafted manganese steel 52 HRC sword and machete set, full tang with fox leather sheath, ideal for outdoor camping and hiking. And it's 47 inches in length. So that's almost 4 feet long. It has a full tang handle wrapped in leather. The handle length is 28.3 inches. The blade length is 18.1 inches. The material is made out of manganese steel. The total length of the sword is 47 inches, and the weight is 5.5 pounds. Well, 5.5 pounds is heavier than a 5-pound mace. And I like maces. And that's a pair of maces I like to do Sinawali exercises with, which is a like a kata for Eskrima, which is a Filipino stick fighting martial art. And more maces, 5 pound, 10 pound, 15 pound, 20 pound, 25 pound, 30 pound maces. And I have 3 of the Titan Fitness loadable maces. 2 of them I keep empty because I like to do dumbbell-like exercises like side lateral raises with them, front raises. One I have by the Rogue Fitness MR20 mace is loaded with steel shot and weighs 56.5 pounds. Those who've watched my channel for a while know that I'm a big mace fan. I like maces, and I own many maces. 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, 25 pounds, 30 pounds. I have a loadable Titan Fitness mace, weighs 56.5 pounds. I just like maces. I have the Rogue MR20 mace, and so on. Because maces are an effective exercise tool. And even though it is a traditional weapon that's obsolete, you can still use it for exercise. Well, the same thing is true for swords. I plan to use this sword just like I would a mace. It's just a fun exercise tool. And the more fun an exercise tool is, the more likely you are to use it. It's like using the FIT principle of frequency, intensity, and time. The more frequent, the more intense, and the longer you use an exercise tool, the more effective it is to develop muscular endurance, size, and strength, and to induce the body to create more mitochondria, capillary density, and bone density. And that's what my goal is. My goal is not to have any visceral fat, not to be obese again. And this tool is something that I look forward to using, just like I look forward to using maces. I like maces. I just think they're fun to play with. I'm not going to use it as a weapon. I actually have firearms, and a lot of them. Shotgun, rifle, handguns. You know, I'm a former Marine and former Ohio Army National Guard infantryman. And I was a correction officer for the state of Ohio for 35 years, and I qualify with firearms every year. If I want to use a weapon, it's going to be a firearm. It's not going to be a sword or a mace. But when it comes to exercise, I'd rather exercise with a mace or a sword. It's just going to be my backyard, but it doesn't matter where you exercise. What matters is that you do exercise as frequently, intensely, and as long as you can. Okay, this is something different, and I realize that. But different is good, because if you keep doing the same exercises with the same exercise tools and using the same exercise routines and the same strength training methods too long, your body will reach a state of muscular accommodation. And to prevent muscular accommodation, you need to rotate exercises, exercise tools, switch your exercise routine, and change your strength training methods. This is what Louis Simmons of Westside Barbell advocated, what Vladimir Zastiorsky, who wrote the classic text on strength and conditioning, science and practice of strength training, advocated. Something different. It's only $62.90, and Temu sells heavier swords, like this Metal Dante Rebellion sword, which is 54 inches long. And the dimensions on this sword, its full length is 53.74 inches, knife length is 36.81 inches, and the handle length is 16.93 inches. And more importantly, the total weight is 9.48 pounds. Now, this is thinking outside the box, but what's important is exercise. You can use a mace as an exercise tool, and you can use a sword as an exercise tool. What's really important is that exercise be effective, that allows for positive adaptation to occur. More muscle growth, more endurance, more mitochondria, insulin receptors that are not insulin resistant, and more capillary density, so more blood sugar and more oxygen and nutrients can go to the muscle cells. I realize this is something different, but I thought I'd throw it out there anyway. But the more fun exercise is, the more likely you are to engage in it. I see this as a functional exercise tool, which is why I purchased it. And you can see I did purchase it, and Temu is promising arrival before Christmas. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload new YouTube videos. And as always, thanks for watching.